Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into a question that's um, pretty much fascinated, well, thinkers for centuries.
Mm.
Who are the righteous chosen, destined for the new heaven and new earth? We'll be looking at one specific text that gives, I guess you could say, a unique perspective on this.
Yeah, definitely unique.
Get ready for some surprises, because this isn't your typical just be a good person message.
Not at all. It really challenges our assumptions about what righteousness even is.
Okay, so spill the beans. What does it say then?
Well, it's more about inner transformation than outward actions,
Mm.
So, think about the story of Jesus and the Pharisees.
Oh, right, right.
It's in Matthew chapter 9, verse 12.
Gotcha.
And Jesus, he points out that it's the sick who need a doctor.
Not the healthy.
Exactly. And he was always surrounded by people who, well, society kind of looked down on,
Like the tax collectors.
Yeah, tax collectors, sinners, the sick.
The Pharisees were all about, what was it, like outward piety?
Totally, yeah. All about following the rules perfectly.
But Jesus kind of flips that on its head.
He does. He says true righteousness starts with recognizing we're not perfect
Interesting.
and then seeking transformation, through God.
Okay, so it's about humility.
Humility, yeah.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that we need help.
I'm liking this, turning the tables on that holier-than-thou attitude.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I remember the text also uses an example of like a humble worker, someone who just lives their life serving others quietly.
Yes. Someone who doesn't need all the praise and recognition.
Right, right. It's all about what's going on inside.
It really is the condition of our hearts.
Now that you mention it, the text is full of stories about choices,
It is, yeah.
like Adam and Eve's choice in the garden,
Right.
the shepherds separating the sheep from the goats,
Oh, good one.
and even Jesus himself being tempted.
Out in the wilderness. It's a big theme.
Why so much emphasis on these choices, though?
Well, what if every decision we make, big or small, it actually shapes us?
Shapes us how? Spiritually. Like each choice adds to the bigger picture of who we're becoming.
That's pretty powerful when you think about it like that.
It is. So it's not so much about making one right or wrong choice, but about the overall direction.
The direction our choices are taking us.
Exactly. And that's the key question. Are we moving toward the God or away from him?
This kind of leads into another interesting idea, purification.
Mm-hmm.
The text compares trials and challenges to gold being refined by fire.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
I can see how it ties into choices. Sometimes the right choice takes us through tough stuff.
It does. The text is saying those challenges can reveal our flaws.
And force us to rely on God.
Yeah. Not about enjoying the fire itself, but what it produces.
We've all been through fire in some way. I think anyone listening can relate to that.
Definitely. Those moments that test us, push us to our limits.
And yet, the text seems to be saying they're not supposed to break us.
They're not. It's about finding a deeper strength.
A resilience we didn't even know we had. Exactly, like the fire forges something new within us, something stronger.
It's almost like we need those fires, those challenges to show us what we're really made of.
That's a really good point. It connects back to that idea of transformation. It's not like we suddenly become perfect. It's this ongoing thing.
Right, a process.
A process, yeah. Becoming more like God. But it takes time.
And it's probably messy, right?
It can be, for sure. Full of setbacks, struggles.
We mess up.
We do. But the text, it suggests that even those imperfections, they can be used.
Used for good.
Yeah, for good. Think of it like that Japanese art, kintsugi.
Oh, where they fix pottery with gold?
Yeah, they highlight the cracks instead of hiding them.
I love that. So our flaws become part of our story.
They do. They make us unique, and they point to God's power.
The power to transform us.
Absolutely. He takes the broken pieces and makes something beautiful.
Okay, so we've talked about inner qualities, transformation, choices. But the text also talks about something pretty amazing waiting for the chosen. A glorified body. What does that even mean?
It's a fascinating idea, and the text actually gives some details.
Does it?
It does. Like in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul describes it as imperishable,
Okay.
powerful, and spiritual.
Yeah.
It's a big change.
So it's not just about appearances then?
No, not at all. It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Like complete restoration.
Wow.
Body and soul totally reflecting God's perfection.
It's hard to even wrap my head around that, honestly.
It is mind-blowing. But think about the hope it offers,
For what?
that all our current limitations, the pain, the struggle.
It's all temporary.
Temporary, yeah. Just a
Yeah.
stepping stone to something much greater.
This life is just the beginning.
Exactly. And it's not just about individual transformation either.
There's more?
The text talks about community, a family gathered around God.
In the new heaven and new earth?
Yeah. And I was struck by the diversity of it.
Like people from everywhere.
Everywhere, united in their love for God. It's a powerful image.
Yeah, it is.
And everyone has a purpose in this community.
What do you mean?
Their talents, experiences, it's all used to glorify God
Oh.
and to help each other contribute to the good of everyone.
Like a giant puzzle where each person is a piece.
I love that. A perfect analogy. And at the heart of it all is the New Jerusalem.
Yeah. The city the text describes, it sounds incredible.
Incredible, yeah. Streets of gold, God's light shining everywhere.
Makes you want to see it, doesn't it?
It does. But remember, it's not just about the visuals.
There's more to it.
Yeah, it represents that ultimate union between God and his people.
No more separation, no more pain.
Exactly. Just perfect harmony. And that extends to our relationships, too.
You mean with each other?
Yeah. No conflict, no jealousy, no division. Just pure unity.
Wow. That's a powerful vision.
It really is. It shows what's possible when we align ourselves with God's will.
And it makes you think about the impact of our choices.
It does.
We talked about the urgency earlier, the separation, the 10 virgins.
It's a reminder to be ready.
But not in a scary way, right?
Not at all. It's more about inspiring us to live intentionally.
To make choices that reflect what we want, that future.
Yeah, to embrace the transformation that God offers us.
And that transformation is for anyone, right?
It is. The text makes it so clear that God's grace, it has no limits.
Like an endless fountain?
An endless fountain constantly flowing,
Yeah.
available to anyone who wants it.
That's a good thought to hold on to.
It is. So as we wrap up part 2 here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what's sticking with you? What resonates most from all this?
And how does it change your view of what it means to be chosen? We'll be back in part 3 to unpack even more. Back again for our final look at the righteous chosen.
This whole deep dive has really been, well, eye-opening for me. It's made me rethink some things about, what it means to be chosen and what this new heaven and new earth will actually be like.
That's what I love about these deep dives. We uncover new layers, see things from a different perspective. What's been hitting home for you? This idea of transformation has really stuck with me. It's not just a one-time event. It's like always ongoing. We're becoming more like God, but it's a process.
A constant process, yeah. And remember, the text even says those challenges, the tough stuff.
Like the refining fire?
Yeah, those trials, they can actually be part of it. They show us our weaknesses, and then we can become stronger, better.
Makes you think about those hard times we all go through. Not fun when you're in them, but maybe they help us grow in a way we couldn't otherwise.
It's true. Even when we're broken, God can use that. He takes those pieces and makes something new, whole out of them.
And then there's that concept of a glorified body. It's mentioned a few times in the text, but I'm still not sure I grasp it.
It's pointing to that final transformation.
Yeah.
When we're made perfect. Not just our spirit, but our body, too.
So like 1 Corinthians 15 talks about it.
Right. Paul calls it imperishable, powerful, a body that can exist forever.
It's more than just, I don't know, looking good in the afterlife. Right?
Way more. It's about our bodies and spirits being in total harmony, reflecting God's perfection.
Hard to even imagine what that'll feel like.
It is. But that's what the text is getting at, this incredible hope. All the limitations and suffering of this life, it's temporary. There's something so much greater waiting.
And it's not just about us individually either. There's that community aspect in the new heaven and new earth.
Oh, absolutely. Remember how the text describes it? People from all over, every background,
Yeah, it was really diverse.
all united because they love God. It's a beautiful picture.
And what I loved is it's not like everyone's forced to be the same. We get to keep our differences, the things that make us unique.
That's the amazing part. Each person brings something special, something that enriches the whole community.
Like a tapestry woven together with all these different threads.
Beautiful analogy. And at the center of it all is the New Jerusalem.
Ah, yes, the city. The text goes all out describing it, doesn't it?
It does. Streets of gold, those amazing walls. Sounds breathtaking.
Makes you want to be there, doesn't it?
It really does. But remember, it's more than just the beauty of it.
Right, there's deeper meaning.
It represents that ultimate goal, God dwelling with his people, perfect unity, harmony between us and him.
And with each other too, right?
Exactly. No conflict, no envy, everyone valued for who they are. That's what we're moving towards.
Which brings us back to that sense of urgency in the text.
Yeah.
The sheep and goats, the 10 virgins, it's a reminder to be ready.
To make choices now that reflect what we want for eternity.
But it's not about being perfect, is it?
Not at all. It's about seeking God's grace, letting him change us from the inside out.
And that grace is available to everyone, no matter what.
Absolutely. It's like that lifeline, always there, even when we mess up, pulling us back to God.
And that's what helps us live the way we're supposed to become the people who belong in that new creation.
That's it. It's not just about getting to heaven, but being ready for it, you know?
So, as we wrap up this whole deep dive, here's something to think about. If the new heaven and new earth are really our future, how do we start living like it now?
It's a great question. What choices can we make today to reflect that reality? And remember, even small steps matter. Every move towards grace, towards love, towards God is part of the journey. Thanks for being here with us on this exploration.